Hello to all quilting fans! Today I want to show you a very simple block with two ways of sewing this simple block. With this pattern you can sew very beautiful bedspreads quickly and easily. I will show you two ways to sew these quilts which are suitable literally for everyone, for boys and girls and even for a mailman if you change the colors. So let's go! Our block is called Flying Geese, and I'll show you two ways how to sew it. The first way is the easiest for everyone, including a beginner. Even a child can handle this block. The only thing you need is accuracy in sewing to avoid dislocations. The other things are very simple. So take a rectangle. I have it measured 4.5 by 2.5 inches. And we also need two background squares of fabric 2.5 by 2.5 inches. So let's take two background squares and draw a diagonal on them. Now lay out to one side and put a line clearly diagonally from corner to corner. Done. And let's do like this. Here's what we should get. We cut off the excess here like this. And here we get such cuts, but those wastes can be put to work. And I will show you later what you can do with them. So don't worry too much, everything will be used. So let's iron one side and now lay our second square like this and put one more diagonal line. So we stitched on this diagonal and now cut off the extra corner, leading over measure. That's it. Now iron and look what we got. Here is such a block of flying geese. Now let's see what we can do with this block. For example, we can sew two more such blocks and complement them with fabric like this. Use any piece of colored or plain cloth, whichever you have. Here is my ready sample. And then we can fold them. This is how one block will lay, the other one will go like this, and the next one is colored again. So I guess you caught my thought. On a large bedspread it will look like this. In my opinion, it is very beautiful, stylish, out of the beaten way. And you can use the wastes in a border. For example, try to sew them into such a ribbon, our corners, and put in a border. If you wish, you can add here, for example, to this block up. The same thing will happen to another block. That is, we may add such corners here. So that's how we can sew a quilt quickly and easily, but there is one drawback: lots of waste pieces. And besides, you have to be careful because we put here lots of diagonals and have to gently iron them to avoid dislocation and skewing. The second way is very simple too. It is absolutely worry and waste-free. For this method, we need a square of fabric. I have 5.5 by 5.5 inches. Here is such a square and 4 smaller squares. This square is 3 by 3 inches. We take a large square of fabric and put smaller squares on it on those sides. On the squares, you also need to draw diagonals for us to be simpler to sew. We laid everything together and now can pin them to avoid movements. From this side too. Let's go to the sewing machine and lay 2 lines, stepping back 1/4 inch from this side and from that side. We stitch it along the diagonal and now cut it into 2 parts. So here we have 2 such figures, which we should iron in this way. It turns out something similar to a heart. So here we have 2 such figures. Now we take 2 remaining squares and also impose them, one figure on another. You can draw diagonals. And on this square too. Again, let's spin all layers for nothing to move and lay again 2 lines along this diagonal. And this figure is the same. So we stitch 2 of our figures. Now take a ruler and cut along the intended line like this. Let's iron their sides. Look, we made 4 geese at once and no waste. This is a very simple way. If you sew a large blanket, you can cut out 4 pieces at once. This is how you can sew them together or try this way. Now I will iron and show you what patterns we can get. So here are 4 geese. You can sew them together like this in one line, and look what a beautiful block we get. We sewed everything into one ribbon and added bright stripes around the edges. I got a block with a size of 8.5 by 8.5 inches. It should form a square. I mean, your colorful stripes should add this strip to the square, and now you can lay out the blocks that you want to get. Try to lay out one block like this, put the next one here and here. The color of the stripes can be also altered. Use green, blue or red pieces. It may look very sweet for a baby blanket, and the block itself is very easy and fun to sew, I think. For more inspiration, please take a look at few more sketches of what can be sewn from those geese. Now I say goodbye to you. Do quilting with pleasure. I believe you will do everything great with this easy and worry-free method.